So, there are some things of animation for this. You guys won't have the privilege of seeing. So, don't cry too much. So, Mike did a great introduction. And really what I want to talk to you guys about today is the fact that the world needs me. Okay? So what does that mean? It means that I was put here on this earth to do some specific things. I believe that my story, my purpose is to impact. I believe everybody was put here for a specific reason. Such a time as this, you might say, there are specific gifts that we all have that no one else has. Talents, experiences. Nobody else can quite do what we can all do. Okay, so a little bit about me. Mike gave a great introduction. So yeah, I grew up in St. Louis. I wasn't born there. I was born in North Carolina, Fort Bragg actually. My dad was in the Army at the time. He was getting out. So, funny story, I wasn't supposed to be born. What do you mean, right? Well, my dad had a vasectomy. Vasectomy didn't take. Here I came along, swimming strongly. Yes. Wasn't supposed to be born, but God had other plans. And so for me, every day I think about that I was meant to be here at this time to have an impact. And that's essentially what Solar does for me. So, grew up in St. Louis, Missouri. Anybody else grow up really poor? Or am I alone? Grew up really poor? There are certain things about growing up poor that I wouldn't have learned if I grew up rich. You know, certain lessons that I feel I learned. Just being poor teaches you. For me, and I didn't learn this until later when I met my wife, hearing gunshots, that's not normal. That's not normal, right? But when I grew up in the inner cities of St. Louis, hearing gunshots, it meant that it's time to lay on the floor, right? And so that was my experience. And I treasure those moments because it made me want to go into law enforcement, have an impact. So, law enforcement. I want to show my family. I want to leave them out. It's my family. It's my wife, Kristen. I like my women like I like my coffee. This is my son, Benjamin. He's 4. He's 4 currently. This is us. We were at Chef Mickey's not too long ago. And if any of you guys are pretty observant, yes, I am wearing the same shirt in both of these pictures. I like the shirt, darn it. I just so happen to look a little bit more muscular on this side. It's fine, right? But anyway, that's my family. Me and my wife, we met in 2013. Really interesting story. We met in person. If she were telling a story, she said she'd be just asking for directions. I thought she was hitting on me. I was on duty at the time. But anyway, misconnection was sending messages, playing the numbers game on Plenty of Fish back in 2013. For some reason, got in contact with her. Didn't know it was her. She didn't know it was me. She says for some reason, she doesn't know why she responded to me to this day. Terrible pictures, terrible profile. She did. She did. And she's stuck with me now, right? So that's our story.
How much time between when you first met her?
Like 3 to 6 months.
Wow. Cool.
She recognized me after a while. We talked for 3-4 weeks. Long emails, back and forth. Never heard me on the phone, right? I don't like my voice particularly. I've gotten used to it, especially when I do video recordings. But don't like my voice, and so I didn't want to turn her off to it, right? Pick up the phone. Hey, this is Spanish, you know. I'm not keeping this down. did a lot of long messages back and forth. There was something I look forward to every day. I get home and I see that long message, and there was those times like I wouldn't get the long message. I was like, oh man, I lost her. But no, you know, the rest is history. We've had those struggles like in our marriage. And one thing that really helps me to know that we're meant to be together is looking back at that beginning. Like, what are the chances of meeting somebody in person one time and then months later reconnecting with them online? The chances are infinitesimally small, right? So that's helped me get through these times. I got a couple pictures for you guys. This is my adventures in law enforcement. On the right, the left side, and you know, this was back in like 2014, so the cameras weren't as good as they are now, but you guys can kind of see, right? This left picture here, this is me looking super valiant, that's me in front. This is also from that same scene. Looking amazing, but here, this shows the true story. We were surrounded. We were cut off. There was a commander on the scene who made a really poor decision, got us cut off from our vehicles. We were taking Molotov cocktails. Our vehicles were being destroyed, rocks being thrown at us, rifle fire, block over. It was terrifying, right? Here's another picture. One of my first protests. This is the second police department I was at. This guy, does he look like he's yelling at me? He looks like he's not. He's yelling at this guy. I didn't break character though. What he's yelling calling this guy a honey bun. I wanted to laugh with him. Kept it together. Right? Nice guy. This guy here. Nice guy. And I met this guy later. We had a civil conversation. No honey bun. This is me receiving 2 awards. These are 2 life-saving awards. Shout out to Michael. Narcan. So it's really interesting. It was a weird trend, I think. I thought we were going on for a while. I had 2 Narcan saves within 2 weeks of each other. Crazy. They were overdosed, and one lady was actually blue. The other guy, he had about 30 seconds to live, they think. And it just got that moment at that time, I was able to get there and save his life. There's a lot of lives I didn't save. Those particular ones, to this day I don't know where they are, but hopefully I made that impact. And that's really why I got into law enforcement. I got into law enforcement to save lives. At the expense of my own life at times, like I thought maybe I wouldn't survive law enforcement, but I did. 2 lives were saved in the process. This is me catching a chicken. Okay, yes, they call police for everything, right? In this case, somebody was out of town, and their chickens had gotten out, and the neighbor calls, hey, these chickens are out, catch the chickens. And this here is the last photo of me before I resigned from my position. I was a detective at the time.
You got tired of catching chickens.
I got tired of catching chickens. Now I just eat the chickens.
There you go.
So why solar? Why solar? A lot of people ask me that. A lot of people have actually met me for the first time. Like, I don't see it for you. Like, thanks, you know nothing about me, right? That's not helpful. But why did I get into it? I'm the ultimate underdog. What I mean by that is these jumps on the screen. If there was a nice animation, you'd see them roll up. It goes to 156. Those are the jobs I applied to when I moved here to Florida. For me, my wife, she got a job first. She's an attorney. She had begged me our entire relationship. Can we move to Florida? Can we move to Florida? I went, fine. Okay. I said fine the last time, and within a month we were down here. I was like, oh, it'll be fine. I'm a decorated police officer. Get a job like that. Didn't happen. Some of these, if you guys were able to see this list, is stuff that I'm crazy overqualified for. Security jobs. What in the world? I'll tell you why this happened though. Instead of prayer, don't recommend this. Don't ever say this prayer. I prayed to God that He would close every door that wasn't right for me and my family. And 160 jobs later, I'm here talking to you guys today. So why solar? Impact. It's really what it's about. I enjoy changing lives. That's what I'm here for. Solar gives me the opportunity to do that. And despite it being hard coming here, I didn't give up. Anybody else had anything hard initially, but they love what they do now? Exactly. But you are in a position now where obviously it's better, it's more successful. But what if you gave up at the end? You know, most of the people that really truly know me and love me, no one in this room, but the people that are personal. No. You guys love me. You guys love me, but I'm saying separate from the people in this room. A lot of people that knew me before solar, that knew me before who I am today, because I've changed myself. And that's kind of what I do. I'm a survivor. I adapt to the situation. I change to make that impact that I was telling you guys about. But most of the people that are in my life prior to solar, they don't see it for me, okay? They say, no, you can't do that. Oh, you're manic. I'm not manic. I don't know if anybody has experience with talk therapy, yeah. So mania doesn't last 8 months. In my experience, I might be wrong, but it doesn't last it. Something is you're passionate about. Something that wakes you up, something that keeps you going. So when it's hard, you got to go back within yourself, and it's that passion. So let's talk about solar now. Solar, very simple. This is a graphic of how it works. Sun hits your house, hits those panels, electricity goes into your house. Extra goes to utility companies. Specifically, if you're FPL, you build up a bank, that extra power, and at nighttime when it's raining or cloudy, it comes back to you. Super simple. Okay? This is another graphic here. There's 130 million houses in the United States. 90 million are eligible for solar. Only 4% have gone on solar. Why? Right? Some people are scared. But change. Here's a survey that was done. About 50% of people plan on getting solar at some point. About 33% are saying no. No, I never did solar. But who's ever experienced a no that turned into a yes? Anybody? Exactly. There's 33%. When will they go solar? They're going to go solar when the fear of change is less than the fear that they currently have. It basically, staying the same is where people operate. We all have routines, right? And people are so scared of change that, they just stay stuck where they are. Stuck. And so that electric bill, if it gets high enough, 33% will change. 100%. And so now you're going to be looking at like about 80% of people going solar. So what does this mean? Okay? The most important thing here, there's a lot of numbers here, but the most important thing here is it's 36%. 36% solar PV prices have declined the last 5 years. A lot of people say, oh, solar's expensive. No, it's not. Day one is cheaper than utility. It's because of this. Last 5 years, it's down. Okay? A lot of those no's are because they still think that solar's too expensive. It's not. It's actually cheaper than utilities. It's just they haven't been informed about the prices. Absolutely. So, why is this important? I'm not saying it. This is a government entity. Energy Information Administration. Anybody ever heard of that? They're not like the Men in Black. They're pencil pushers, actually. They're economists. Their job is to forecast. This is exactly what they forecasted. This is utility prices over the next 20-something years, 25 years. It's a nice line, isn't it?
It's going
No.
the wrong way.
I don't like that.
No.
What this is showing is an average of 4% increase per year up into the year 2050. At least 4%. This is a graphic of why. These are the reasons: wages, benefits, inflation, the grid, pension. All those things are going to contribute to this 4%. Really simple. Imagine this is your geographic area. You guys have FPL. Each of these X's represents 1,000 customers. Because you do not have a choice in where you're getting your utility from, FPL got used to making a certain amount of money off you guys. There's nothing you can do about it. That is their revenue that they're going to get, right? What happens though, if my graphic was working, some of these X's would disappear, right? People are going solar. So what happens is people go solar, they're losing their customer base. Still got to make the same amount of money, right? But they're losing their customer base. You're losing customers, guess what? You're losing that revenue. Still got to make this revenue though, right? They have shareholders they got to account for. They got expenses, right? Question. What do you think they do? Read this headline. California has a glut of electricity, but residents pay 40% more than the national average. They have a ton of solar. Guess why they pay more for their utilities than the national average? Got it. Exactly. These people that are left, that are scared, the nose, they end up paying more. Conservatively, we say an extra maybe 2%. This represents just normal average, not necessarily the solar inflation that is present here, okay? Extra 2% maybe, sure. Very conservative. Last 20 years, utility rates have doubled. Here's some examples of what I was telling you guys about. How it's cheaper to go solar. The more your bill is, the cheaper it gets. Make sense? Anybody here have an average utility bill about $200? You took it from month to month, yeah, $200? Any guess what you'd be paying in 25 years? Oh, maybe more, actually. Actually, even at that 4%, it's way more than double. 6% is more than that. For the month, you'd be paying $810 in 25 years. Guess how much your total would be that you spent over that time? 25 years. I want to scare you, but this is for example. $132,000. Does FPL give you any of that back? What do they do with it? Exactly. So, going with the utility company is essentially rental. $132 does nothing, right? Solar is like owning. It's like owning a house. You know, we all used to rent, maybe we currently rent. But a lot of people move from renting because they want an asset. It's $130,000. When you put it with solar, maybe you would spend maybe $68,000. Maybe you got, I don't do math so well, but you got over $50,000 that you didn't have to spend. You don't have to worry about FPL raising the rates. Make sense? Let's speed through some of this. There's 3 different ways, basically in Florida here. Yeah, paying off financing. Very few people pay in cash. Not everybody has cash just around. Financing, cool. The biggest issue with people with financing, people think, oh, it'll raise my insurance rates, which is possible. That's one of the biggest issues. And I talked about that a couple weeks ago. People also think, oh, maybe it'll put a lien on my house. Not so much. There's a lien on the system itself. Biggest thing that I see right now for Florida, which I love, is called leasing. It's not like leasing a car, when you got to do all this maintenance and everything. No. Actually, you don't own the system. Not until 25 years. They give it to you right off. What's cool about leasing is, because you don't own it, you can't put insurance on it. They insure the whole thing. Fantastic. Because Florida, what are we afraid of? Exactly. No one likes the insurance. It's going up. Why power? We're kind of a crunchy company. Crunchy. 5 minutes? Very good. So the CEO is kind of a hippie, right? He's doing it for the environment. I didn't originally think about the environment when I first got into solar, but I can see the science behind it. And if there's a chance that what I'm doing could impact the environment, I'm okay with it. So what's really cool about power? A plus DVB, Peak 500 or 5,000. Yelp, everything, they love us. It's good, right? 4 years running, Peak 5,000. That's good. That's very good. There's not many companies that have done that, period, in the history of the Peak 5,000. Why is this important? Yeah, there's smaller companies out there. Yeah. There's modern pop shops, cool. But when we're talking solar, it's better to have a company that's bigger. Here's why. Price point. The bigger the company is, the more buying power they have. Okay? Which means that they're able to transfer those savings off to the customer. But in addition to that, if the company's larger, a better chance of them being around for longer. Make sense? So if the company is around longer, you run into an issue with your panels and stuff, they'll be there to service. Granted, these manufacturers, they're warranting the system themselves, but it's another barrier to entry, so to speak. Okay? So that's who we are. These are some of our crunchy numbers. By crunchy, the environmental stuff. I love it. But this is what we do with solar. 30-year solar warranty. Pretty cool. Say if you end up, not you guys, but anybody ends up buying the system to a loan. It's 30-year warranty on everything. Pretty cool.
Are they on the roof?
Yes, it is on the roof. He's training for the future. So I mentioned this a couple weeks ago as well. There's an ambassador program. We put our money where our mouth is. It's $1,000. Very simple. It's free. $1,000. You know somebody who's interested in just having a conversation about solar, send them my way. They end up going solar. It's $1,000. Limited amount of times. Because we're trying to change the planet. Make sense? Any questions? What's your question?
Some people, what about the fear of the holes in the roof and everything?
Yeah, sure. So that's where that 30-year warranty comes in. Okay? Florida, it rains a lot. Okay? You're going to notice if there's some type of roof penetration. But, you know, some of those gaskets, whatnot, it takes a little bit of time. Luther can probably, he's kind of nodding his head, yeah. So that's why we expanded even further. So you don't have anything to worry about with roof penetration. Any other questions? Yes.
Is there like with the age of your roof, like the rest of the time you have, like maybe you have like 5 years, right, life left in your roof. Is there like a min or max of like when to put the solar on or to wait? Because like what if you have 2 years left, you put solar on, and 2 years you need a new roof? How does that work with, like, does the warranty cover that?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
We're an ethical company. There's a lot of solar companies, and I'm not throwing shade, but there's a lot that's just interested in getting that dollar. They'll throw solar on anything. We're not going to do that. We're going to make sure that that roof is capable of having solar on it. We're going to make sure it's new enough. Like the best time to put solar on a roof, or yeah, there you are. Is when the roof is new. Absolute best time. But newish, or actually a good time too, is the roof is old. We can do both. We can put the roof on and the solar at the same time. You get a tax credit off the whole thing. And guess what? Roof loans are about 10 years, is that right? Maybe 10 years that you're paying for?
Yeah, we can go out 10 years.
Go about 10 years. Guess what? You bundle it together, it's done at 25 years. And guess what? You take advantage of solar's financing instead of roofing's financing. Roofing financing is okay. Solar financing is better. It's around 4%. Make sense? I appreciate it. Thank you so much.